Good afternoon, evening, and I think for most of it to be evening and afternoon. But if you are anywhere in the world where it's already morning, then good morning. So today's session, as usual, for this time is Power BI and it's adaptive cards within Power BI. It's one of those recently added features in Power BI that maybe a lot of people are not fully utilizing. And so today we've got Ifeanyi here with us to walk us through how you can take advantage of it and improve your reports in Power BI. Okay, so this session is brought to you by your BizEdge and MHS Analytics. Your BizEdge is a Microsoft Excel, data analytics, financial modeling, training and consulting company. We've got a product coming out soon, so we'll let you be aware. It's a product that it's nothing to do with our data analysis space. It's a ticketing solution and events. I wouldn't say event management, but ticketing solution for transport, events, and personal services businesses. So it's something we are launching both in Nigeria and in Canada. We are now at a stage where we'll be able to onboard them better users, where we are getting close to that stage. So we try to also do a solution that will, tackle things beyond just data analytics. And I'm going to share our resource link where you can access free and paid resources. So if you are planning to do the FMI exam, you can take advantage of the mock exam. We've got some templates that you can use if you're trying to, plan your startup or even your regular companies, not non-startup companies. You can do the financial model using some of our templates, just that you might need to be a bit knowledgeable on the terms, so, but at least you can get a template to work with. So I'll share this, and I hope our presenter has not vanished. Okay. While I go, maybe he will rejoin. I'll keep checking. I can see he's no longer in the session. MHS Analytics is our Canadian entity, and it's similar services, but provided for the Canadian and US, essentially North American market. So if you have anyone in North America or would prefer to engage with our North American entity, MHS Analytics, I will share the link. You can check us out. And so introducing our speaker, which let me just try to message him to see what is happening. I think he said he didn't see the invite that it was today, but he said he's ready. So our speaker is Benny Ifeanyi Yagwara. It's mostly known as Benny online, so that's why sometimes you might see me interchangeably say Ifeanyi or Benny. He's a data analyst and technical writer. I'm just messaging him. Okay, he's a data analyst and technical writer. He enjoys writing. He shares knowledge. If you maybe search for data analytics, SQL, and machine learning stuffs a lot online, you probably will have come across some of his posts. So it's kind of been able to connect himself to a lot of all these. Okay, he's back. Okay, great. So he's been able to write technical content for a lot of big names, like It's Subscribe. There are so many. Once you click on his LinkedIn, I will share his LinkedIn. You'll be able to see some of his work. And currently, he works with the ARM HoldCo as a data analyst. And in his spare time, he writes. He does technical writing. He says he likes to watch movies, animes. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he volunteers for communities and boot camps. So we are fortunate to have him with us today. And I'm going to share his LinkedIn so you can connect with him. And Benny, I'm handing over to you right now. You can take charge of you can do screen share and start your presentation.
And apologies for the thing out in this location, so it kicks me out.
Oh, okay, no worries.
So today we'll be looking at adaptive cards. And just like Michael said, adaptive card is it's kind of a not so new, but a feature in Power BI or in Power platforms that allows you to basically allows you to create like you can have a snippets of a UI that can be shared between like apps and services. So it's a way for you to like communicate information to that with users or people in organizations without maybe you guys have a snippet of information you want to sort of have to go to a particular dashboard or particular service to do something. So I'm trying to so for you to use adaptive cards, so we use it like it's going to be like an instruction, and we're going to use it in a very simple manner. We're going to use it to display information on Microsoft Teams. So for you to follow along or even make use of adaptive cards, use have at least a Microsoft 365 license. It's fine. So we're going to just use that. And so you need to have a 365 license. If you don't have a 365 license, you can always use get a developer account and you can have access to a lot of these features or a lot of these applications and play around or learn about them as well. So adaptive cards, you can get it by going to the adaptive card designer. You can also just simply get that by simply searching for adaptive cards. And so there's like a website for it, so adaptivecard.io, and you can click on the designer. So when you go to the designer, this is where you write your JSON script, which you cannot use to display the information, which we're going to look at today. There are also templates as well, which you could also explore. And as well, you can also explore, read the documentation to learn more about maybe more features about this product. So once we get to the designer, this is what we see. Oh, I don't know, my screen is being displayed.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
doing well, it's
it's
doing well, no issues.
sure. Thank you. So on the left hand side, similar to your Excel UI, similar to Power BI UI, you have your you have this top part which shows you different prompts which you can click on to come to the particular activity or to carry out a particular task. Then on this right hand side, you see different elements which you can use for your adaptive cards. And this part's like your gallery, the Power plugin, Power Apps, which allows you to whenever you make changes to the JSON code here in the card layout editor, it gets displayed, shows you what's going to look like in this part. And that's exactly what it is. So the first one I'm going to do is to click on new card. We'll click on new card just to get started. And we can start with a blank card. You can start with HSA or we'll start with a blank card. So I'm going to just start from afresh. So once you click on a new card or a new adaptive card, this shows up. So at the moment, what we have is just we're writing an adaptive card. This does the schema, and this is a version, and this is a body. So at the moment, our body of the adaptive card is empty. The card structure is just at the moment just a card. And depending on whatever we want to do on adaptive card, that's where we use an element like see available here. So for our adaptive cards at the moment, we can always use we're going to create an adaptive card that just displays a text. So when we embed it on Microsoft Teams, it displays the text to the users. And we'll take it a step further by people asking users to input a value, and this will get displayed as well on Microsoft Teams as well. So the good about the card is like it's also very low code, no code. So you really just have to drag and drop, make some changes, and you don't really have to write everything from from scratch. And whenever you drag and drop, you can always use whatever shows here the card loader editor to edit your script or to make some changes based on to customize what you are seeing as well. So it's actually very easy to like follow along. So if you want a text box, we're going to come to this element here, see text box on that element, and we can drag and drop it, and we can use on our adaptive cards. So when we carry an adaptive card, we notice that the gesture script here changes. So it shows us now adaptive card, the schema, the version, and now in the body we have a text box. The text has a new text box, wrap which is true. Wrap is basically like it's trying to wrap the text around, so it's not going to like it's not going to the text not going to leave the length available. You're going to keep wrapping it. And just we're going to be adding other elements in our adaptive card. So it's best that you set a title for each element you put in your adaptive card, so you can always use this for customization. You can make it easy for you to find out if there's an issue. So we click on this text box, we go to the title here, go to the ID here, I'll give it a title. So I'll call it a name, for example, let's call it title. So it shows the title of the message we want. And we can, for us to give it a name, you can give it a name here by here, the test box. So at the moment, you see it's showing the test box. So whatever we change here, for example, if I remove box, new text shows new text, and here also shows new text. So I could make changes to what displays on the adaptive card, either by writing it down here or by writing it down here. So for example, let's say we want to have a quality of management. So cause make changes here. And similarly, like I mentioned, if you click on the card, you can always make those changes. If I click on this, I can also make changes. For example, if I added like 3 dots, so it gets displayed there as well. So you always use both sides for your adaptive card. You can also make other changes, like for example, color like changes to your adaptive card. For example, if you like this font to be a little more bolder, you could make the changes there. For example, you see the space in there, I could make it that should be small, or it should be default, or you can make different changes here. You can also make changes here as well under the style section, like make this maybe the default, or I can make a font size here. It should be so I just make various changes based on whatever you want on your adaptive card. Then maybe the size you want it to be larger. The weight, if you want to be lighter, you can also do that. Or you want it to be lots more bolder as well. You can make your change. If you want to make a color change, you can pick a particular color here, and you can get that change displayed on your adaptive card. So everything that has to do with your elements, it basically does what you're clicking on the elements, dragging the elements here. You can either make changes here, or you can also come here and manually click it. And the moment you click it, automatically gets generated on this editor. And you can also keep track of the different elements you are creating by the card structure, which you are seeing here. So we could add other elements, for example, in our cards. So for example, if we want to add an element that shows the dates, or an element that asks you to input an item. So like I mentioned, we want to get an input from a user. So we can use that to be under the input tab. So for example, if I want to tell users to input a detail, so I can come and drag it here, depending on where I put it. If I leave it here, you see at the right hand side, see the input.txt, which I just dragged on my gallery, gets kept before my text blocks, which is this management system which I wrote. If I put it on that, it gets kept like before that tab. So you can always drag different elements here based on what you want. If I want an image, I can drag an image here and link it up to an image as well. So for example, if I want to ask me for a date, I just drag it here. If I want to input, give me an image, I can drag the image element here as well. And that also gets displayed here. And whenever you're dragging an element here, I would always ask you that you should always name all these different elements you're putting, so like to always be easier in case there's an issue. You can find out where is it issue coming from. So for example, like this our input.text. We'll give it an ID, and giving it a name has to do with this ID of element. So for example, this is I call it it. So we can't, again, as well, change the settings, add spaces, see what are the validation. We can also give it a add validation. So this test, if you want to make sure it does like a minimal set value or a displayed or a minimal value that or a default value that shows up once the user looks at it. We could always set all of that here by setting a default, a minimal, a maximum value. We're also going to come to this other one, which is the image that we drag there, and as well we also give it a name. So I call it image. From the URL, you can get a URL and you can impute this here. So for this image, the URL, set it here. So I just copy it URL from Google, which is like URL with this certificate cards, and you can see it gets displayed here certificates. Say for example, this was for let's say company brand. We could always get a copy of the logo. So I come here and I copy the link, the image address, the image address of the link address. But I basically come here, copy it, and I paste it here. So this does not. It needs to have an image. So image address. So I copy the image address, and just like I mentioned, it always shows this here. So I can also make changes directly here in the card editor instead of actually making them changes here. So I can set it an height of the size. So maybe it should be medium so that like that's so small of this. And I can also set the alignment, so it should be centered aligned. And I can also set it style. Okay. So you could set can keep going on and asking for either if you want it to just be something that if you want to just be you always keep adding more elements as much as you want on your on this editor as much as you want, and automatically to get generated always here for you as well. So let's ask one other element, an element that allows the users actually like make to submit. And for you to make this, you need an action set. That's what we call an action set. So what the action set does is it allows you set your. So I come here and I add it here. Something you should know is that these are cards designer we're using. You will notice we didn't log in or anything. So it's but I say free or open source. But you just log into the website and you start making your changes. So you should know that it's not saving all of this as we are making these changes. So if maybe I log out, if I, for example, refresh this page, we will have to like almost start from the beginning all over again. So that's something you should bear in mind as you are making this certificate. Okay, so I click on the action set here. So I drag an action set to my card element, and I can give it an action. So since in the action set, I set an action for it. So before I set an action, I should also give it like an ID. So in the action set, I'll add an action, and I want it to be something that you make it submit. They can submit it. So I also have to give it a 90. So the ID is also going to, we're going to call it, they can submit. That's all they want. That's what they're going to do. They can make a they can make a submission, and I can give it a title. So the title is, like I mentioned, just like we saw for the this title is what shows up. So at the moment it shows our shows up titles. But actually give it a name here. Everything. Should call it submit. So this will give it a different name and submitted. So I call it title this. And once I've done that, I can also, like I mentioned, you can also change your style of your of all your obvious elements, for example. So, for example, I can make this to be secondary. I can also give it a default style, so maybe it should be positive, which is going to be this blue line, or it should be destructive, which is shows this red. Not as positive. You can also make other changes as well, as much as you want to make. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to want to show this up on Microsoft Teams. So for Microsoft Teams, I'm going to open up Teams. And before we can make this in Microsoft Teams, we wanted to show get display Microsoft Teams. So we're going to need to use Power Platform. So we're just going to log in to, I think I've already logged in. Yeah, so we're going to use Power Automate for that. So I can come here and log into Power Automate. So Power Automate is another is not an is one of the tools or applications under the Power Platform. And what this particular tool does is it allows you to automate your workflows. So you can automate some processes that you normally do. So for example, you can do an automation from a Microsoft form to a SharePoint folder or a Microsoft form to your database, or from just like now from our data from our Microsoft form. You can basically automate different processes, but it depends on whatever you normally do, like at work for your business process. Like, so if there's process that you always have to do repeatedly, you would go to Microsoft form. You can go to Microsoft Automate, Power Automate, sorry, and create a flow that does this at a particular time, or it gets triggered whenever something happens. For example, like example of the form. So for example, you give out a survey form, and whenever you give a survey form, you create a flow that whenever someone submits it, this response goes to the particular SharePoint folder or goes to the database, and maybe calculate do some calculations, and a value get displayed on the dashboard. For example, we're calculating, for example, or like this webinar, we're calculating something like our what's the MPR of this MPS of this webinar, like the total score for this webinar. So you can basically use Power Automate just to automate various processes in your organization. Uh, so I'm trying to Good. So this is the templates and samples that I was mentioning. This shows us different examples of that we've got. Like for example, this example we're seeing here, or it shows us like so it gives us the user's name, which we see here. So this is what this. So the title was published at that card's schema, which we see here. There's a description which shows up which description you are seeing here. And then it shows the creator, which is the name of the person, the profile picture, which comes from this URL. If I copy this URL and I paste it on a particular is opened. So back to this, if I copy this URL and I put it here, for example, it's going to show, it's going to display this picture you can see right here. This picture we're seeing. So what it's showing is the name, the profile picture, where it was created, the date, which is the date you are seeing here. Then this the which is our sigma name, and then it shows these different keys. So for example, for board, what should display this, this should show this, assigned to show this, and this should show this. And it's asking the user to set a due date, or they can simply just view this card. So for our set our due date, is similar to our action, the action this thing we're using, and it just shows us, which is what you see here, the action card, the action show card which we use, and it's just showing in actions and actions will submit, which has is also input like a due date and also input add a comment, and you can press OK, which will give us submit, and it gets submitted, and the next card comes along. So now that file submit is open, or we're going to want to create a new flow. Okay, so for this new flow, since this is we're creating manual flow, so it's going to be manually triggered. So manually triggered flow, and for our trigger button, we're going to use manually triggered flow, and I break on create. So this is the new view for Power Summit. You could also just use the old designer as well by click on the toggle. And once we have a manual trigger flow, we have to give it an action. So once we have triggered this flow, what should take place? That's what we call the action. So the action is going to be simply, so we wanted to post these adaptive cards on Microsoft Teams. So we want to post these adaptive cards in a chat on Microsoft Teams, like I mentioned. So we look for post adaptive cards in Microsoft Teams, which is post cards in channel Teams. And we'll post it as a flow board. It's going to ask us for where you should post it, and we can click it as bit on a channel. It is going to ask us for our team ID. So our team ID is, if I go to Microsoft Teams, this is the team, and these are the different teams ID you have. So I created this channel which is called identify response, or even this texting channel as well. So I can put my team ID. If you do not have a channel, you could always click one create a new channel as well. So I'm going to use this, which is this channel. This www something, and it has the team the channel ID which is texting. by texting, what it's referring to is, so my teams, this is WWB6R, and under testing, which is this testing here, I can always create a new channel, but I'll have a channel called Benny. These are various channels that came with the developer account. Then it asks me for the adaptive Kaiser JSON file. So in this adaptive card JSON file, we have to head back to our adaptive card. We have to head back to the designer in adaptive card, and this is what is referring to as the JSON file. So I can go to the JSON file here, I can copy it. You could also copy it by you click on this button, copy cards, load cards, copy card payloader, and I copy it, come there, and I come here and I paste it. Should I see you? Let me check the image URL. Okay, that's actually the image URL. Um, so once you have that done, save this step. You can also do this as well on the new design. If I talk about the new design now. So the new design now, this is going to look like, or created a manual trigger flow, which comes automatic security flow. We click on this plus to select the new action. For example, I click on this plus and click on add the action, and I type in my action. So I want to submit that data cards. So I put that data cards, and I click on, which is symbol. Just which is post messaging chat or things. I click on that. Once you click on that, it opens, it gives you a card like this. We select once you post our visual flow box or the channel, give it a theme, give it a channel, and we come and paste the adaptive card or JSON script here. And once we are done, you click on save. So once we have done that, we can test this flow by clicking on test. This is a manual trigger flow, manually trigger it, click on test. So it expects us to do the whole signing in and authentication. I'll click on one and click on done. So we can head back to our flow and we can see it here. I'm sure that's gonna be displayed. Okay, that's how you are. Is you actually see how it looks like. Let me change the script a bit. So if I go back to the design now, yeah, and let me just I manage to trigger it. Okay. Press up successfully, but it doesn't get displayed on the channel. So don't try a different channel. So let me once we do this, test plus. Right there. Back on. Okay, so let's do this. Test it again. Yeah, so this is so the problem was the size. So I had to change it to a size drop. And then it failed because size drop like it doesn't support this last type property that we clicked on. So is it now? So it shows up now in your
Just sorry,
okay.
Just before you go on, just to I know you said it, but I think you also confused us a bit. What we saw you change was the version, right? You changed it from version
Yeah, the version.
to 1.2. I think it was like 2 before, then you changed to 1.5, then to 1.2. Okay, all right. So it was the version. All right. Okay.
So I tried to change the version here. Like I came here to change the version, but then I took around the flow and it got an error. So I took it back to the designer, the code, and it's not mentioned, gave a error that this type property which I use that's not supported in version 1.2. So I have to take out that part of the code as well. So we can try back the image again. And so this image that we used the first time, I give it an ID for the URL. Uh, I go back to image, click the image, I copy image address. To be better, you can shorten it. I think there are websites out there which you can use to actually shorten the social automatic size, copy, issue large. It should be sent to. So I can go now and copy this bottom, copy the code again now, it's new. I save it again. And I run the test once it's done too. What these guys displayed. Yeah, no, so these are the first one that the image, and this one with the image now. So I don't know that any person so far.
Yeah. Yes. So some questions. Maybe just to mention for Harmon, I don't think you missed much. It was just because it took a lot of time for the Power Automate to load. So I think that's the only part you probably missed. And by the time you came back, you saw the actual work done there. So Benny, just to get concept, a context of where people use this. So is this, can you give some examples of when one will use these? I want to ask because I've also seen processes where, for instance, I want to submit a request, maybe a leave request, or I want to, something that normally people would have gone to do outside of Teams, is that one of the things that this enables, so they just know they can, it's just the trigger now because it seems like you have to automatically trigger it, but is it like there could be a process where I say hi to in a particular channel, and then I will trigger the form to pop up. Then I fill in details and click submit, and it goes to wherever it needs to. Just wanted to get some use case scenarios that people should take this further to try this on.
So you have actually given a use case scenario, like a request. It could be, whenever we leave request, it could be, for example, let's say you always have to submit a request to IT, or you submit a request to somebody on a particular team. So you guys could create a Teams channel. We call like your request to us. And whenever someone does on the channel, just type I at, whenever I gave this bot a name, I called it bot flow, but I could actually create a name for that bot. And it brings out this workflow shout. You can customize the name that shows up here and tell it give us a list of gives us a list of different fields. For example, maybe you provide your tax name, provide the date, provide give details about your tax, who starts from, where it's coming from. I hope you can contact in this like you need like further clarification. And all you have to do is when I bring up this stuff and you can click on it. And this now goes to a particular or goes to a particular so I'll come back to why this train is error. So user goes to a particular either a SharePoint list or an Excel file, which maybe because it creates another flow there that whenever something drops there, you should not send a message to maybe your actual team's channel, and you guys can pick up the request as well. So, and that reason why people also use this instead of maybe having an external platform or using a different tool. Could be everybody spends a lot of time on Teams. So you want maybe a process that all they have to do is come on Teams. Yeah, they can do it without them having to like leave this platform. Even your adaptive cards, and that's thing about adaptive card, you can also attach it to a you can also attach it to a your Outlook, give user Outlook as a message. For example, if someone sends you a message on Outlook, for example, maybe there'll be a prompt that brings out this workflow, and the person can actually fill the tags or give right there in Outlook without you having to go to a different platform. Like you just click on submit and then it works out the order or magic in the background. So that's actually a workflow. So that's why you guys to get information. You can also do it in a way that maybe you click on something and it just shows you, or every day you have a workflow for example, there's one we have for like a birthday right now. So maybe today is your birthday. There's a workflow that also comes and gives you details of happy birthday. So this birthday it will also be the adaptive card that also shows. Remember I mentioned that it actually just was showing a snippet of the information. So it goes in that regard. So for example, maybe every morning adaptive card shows up and gives you guys maybe like a count, for example, in a factory where stuff's like maybe how many hours the data produced the day before figures. Maybe adaptive card every morning just shows up in your Microsoft Teams and gives you like a snippet of today this happened, this gives you some particular figures which you are very interested in. Instead of you having to go to a particular dashboard to look at it, maybe pick a particular parameter to see that. So there's a card that every morning just shows up on your desk that gives you like kind of like good morning, maybe some morning coffee. It gives you these figures, and then you can like start your day at a particular time as well. So you can use it as to display information or to request information from your users, right? So on Microsoft Teams without having to always leave the platform as well. That's one way you can use it.
Mm. That's interesting. That's a very, very interesting one. I can see some interesting concepts with the making it automatically show you stuff that you're interested in seeing. And since it's going to be in a particular channel, it means a lot of people that you want them to have access to that information, they can see it daily or at whatever frequency you want without them needing to do any additional task. They just go where the teams they normally have open, and every day they see that. That's a very good use case. Okay. Any questions from people in the house?
I have one more on this thing. So
Okay, sure.
when I came here to select a date, for example, I select today's date and I click on submit, I got this error. Unable to reach out, please try again. So this was because of the if I go to this my flow, this flow we're working on. And I click on so the flow I picked postcard in a channel. So that's all this is supposed to do. All it's supposed to do is just post this card in your channel. It's not supposed to ask for a request. However, in the design I did, I actually created designer for you to collect information. I use this design is not to actually to display data or anything. This what I wrote here as my JSON file, the whole idea was for you to pick a date. That's what this was supposed to be. So for example, let's say we put in tax and you pick a date, that's what we're supposed to do. So this is no way to work for our use case because all this source is supposed to each card in the channel. So what we have actually used instead would have been I click on adaptive cards again. And what I actually want to post this in a channel and actually wait for a response. So it actually should get a response from you. That's actually what our flow should have done. So I'll do the exact same thing again, which is channel channel. The message and I can go here and pick the message. So my message is going to be it's everything in my JSON file. So my recipient, So at the moment, we actually do not have one. But if we add, for example, let's say in this our flow, we could actually pick someone's name. We could actually make it that we actually want to pick the few elements that was mentioned in this our JSON file. But in this our type, we just pick. Not sure. So let me pick the channel, which is channel list. Should be best in our season. So we don't really have any listing from here that we used. That's what's in. I'll try. Let me see this one. And I click on save. You can delete this one. That way out. So
Okay, I wanted to say you've frozen or something. Okay.
no, I don't know. It's taking so long to save. I'm not even sure why. It's taking that long to save. But with this new action that we picked now, this one will enable us to enable it to save, to collect information from this particular data card that we picked up. I think we went earlier today, so I think that's helps. I can't save it, I can't test it.
Okay, I get you. Like the saving is not completing. Okay, in the interim, since we've done it, at least we could get an idea of what it will look like. Though it would be nice to see what happens when you submit. But any question from anyone in the house, so that we take the opportunity to also put across questions to Ifeanyi. Any question from anyone? Famous, Tulu, Hamon. Okay, how Amon is saying that great to learn about this. Thanks for the inspiration. I guess he's gotten one or two ideas of where he might try to put this to use. That's nice to hear. I'm also having ideas. What I don't have is time. Thank God Tolu is here, so she might come up with other ideas that in the team we might do. And it won't be dependent on just me.
Yeah, so I wanted you to save so that you can do some other stuff. But other stuff you will need to add after you've done that savings. You now need to um you need to yeah, you need to yeah, you need to create like a compose. So now that it has saved these elements, you need to select what you should collect for this stuff. So remember, at the moment, all we wanted was time. Was the
Date.
what was the date? Yeah. So go to the button. So I'll tell you that you should give us the let's get response to that, and then we give it to the response. So you should give us this response type, and then we could also need to create um, an Excel sheet, for example. Or we can use SharePoint. I'll say use SharePoint instead. Right? You should add this really to this table. So this data actually comes from somewhere. Actually goes somewhere. So for example, business. So for this one, right? That would fine. Does this file which I used some trades on tables. Yeah, so also market. So where's date? So date should now have this the output from our compose. This design is very that we can save this. Save no something save. Let's make sure. So
Well, all of what you've done is not in the link.
this is an example of a this thing of what's supposed to do.
Okay.
I mean, it so you can see what. So in my Managerial flow, it processes this and by response. Then this and it picks out different elements and then adds it to a table. So once we test this, I'm not sure which channel it's supposed to go to. The base around this. Or something. Yeah, so this is so it comes here. it asks for this. It asks for a detail. So let's say pick a date for it. Let's say it's tomorrow. But pick a priority level. I also give details and you click on submit. So this time when you click on submit, it actually gets submitted. And you can send it to the send it to the sheet name that we used here. So so this one we just added now. So it shows this. And you're gonna create we'll add more flows or more links here that whenever it comes here, or maybe this should now go to the team and now before that we assign it. Or you should go to your, for example, your Microsoft Planner. You can now for that there you can now can then assign it to somebody to take up the tasks as well. So we use it for different use cases. Either maybe it's to, like you mentioned, the request form to get we have to get information from somebody. It could be a request, it could be for maybe let's say like for inventories or a way to display information, like maybe an action card. So for example, like maybe every month it just shows you statistics on different stocks or it shows you information on some personal information so you're interested in, or for example, you can do something very beautiful. Like maybe it just shows you whenever someone's birthday, it just displays like an happy birthday message with a picture and everything on the card. So it's actually used for anything as much as you got something you can think of. And you can also integrate it on Microsoft Teams or even, for example, I create an action here. I click on adapt cards. It's actually one party. We attach it to an email as well. So you can also be calling from an email. Same from that. But there's another regard for Outlook as well. Okay, we can always move power for your power forms. So you can also put this in other applications as well.
Oh, thanks. Okay, any questions for Ifeanyi? Okay, Ifeanyi, do you think maybe we can bring the session to a close at this point, or are there other things you wanted to share?
Oh, no, there's nothing to share.
Okay, thank you very much. Like, when you started, I didn't know. I was going to ask where can we use what you are designing on the adaptive card, but now I can see. Like you totally showed, not just even as I demonstrated how this could be a workflow automating process, and awesome. Thanks a lot, and to everyone who stayed to the end, thank you very much, and we hope to see you next week. I'm going to share the feedback form. I even need to check it. I'm behind on checking what people have put so that we know what type of topics you like, and at least we can factor in your own inputs into our planning. It's not just going to be what we think, it's also going to be what you've said. Okay, so once you do that, I will have actually find you to share about his journey, but all of us in the house have heard about it before. This is probably you've done more than a dozen sessions, because while you were with us in your business, you were also doing sessions. So I think we'll let you rest, especially considering that you didn't see the calendar notification and it was very late that you now found out that the session was supposed to hold today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ifeanyi. Thank you to the audience. See you all
Thank
next week.
you.
Yeah, have a
Thank
wonderful week
you.
ahead. Yeah, thanks.